All right, the highlights from Greatstockpix.com from Tuesday, September 3rd. I repeat, like I've been saying, we're in a slow, low volume period, so we are just trying to eke out ideas when we can, but no one can accuse us of overtrading right now. It's important to always know the environment you're trading in. So I'm sitting here being patient, as are the other moderators, and we're only calling stuff that meet our parameters. So having said that, BMRN gapped up today. I didn't even have this on watch, and then made this nice move. This doesn't look like much to speak of, and then a long base, little pop out of the base. But if I bring over the daily, and you can see it had a nice close. This is the daily. Those are 5-minute candles I was showing you. It was flirting with breaking out above this base, and now it's got a straight shot to 70 perhaps going forward. But anyway, because of the daily, it became interesting to me. And then when we had this long base, and I'll kind of scroll and show you what it looked like, had this long base, and then I saw this pop out of the base. Well, now there's a good chance we're going to move through the high of the day, right? But sellers are going to challenge you first. So when it looked like this, I went ahead and put the call out in the room. And here's my thinking on this trade, just so everybody understands. Broke the base, high of day just to the left, daily looks good. And so if these people who sell here, if these sellers fail, in other words, if it can take out the high of this last little spike, now I want to go long. So that's what I waited for. And I went ahead and called BMRN long if it got to 67.53. See, this high right here was 67.52. So 67.53, stop 67.37. Look at that volume that came in. So there's the trigger. Stop right below basically the trigger candle. And that was, it was only for the last 20 minutes or so of the day, maybe the last 30 minutes, but it did go to 68.07. So it wasn't huge, but a 54-cent move. The beauty of it is it's all about timing in the market. And this entry here, we were never underwater, and we didn't have to sit through all this kind of chop. So, sometimes you catch one just at the right time, and I feel like we did there on BMRN. Another interesting call I made today was CBS. CBS, now I didn't see it early. You see that nice volume pop there? Didn't see it early, though. So it's one of those deals I found later in the day. Let's see, I'll try to figure out where. Okay, so what do you have here? And I'll show you the daily again. You've got a stock that has a base here, little pop, another base, and then another pop today on decent volume. See that opening 5-minute candle? So it becomes interesting already, but I didn't have it on watch. I think I discovered it when it looked about like this. Now, the reason for my call, it met a couple things we look for. Okay, first of all, you've got a strong stock, you've got a decent daily. That is the low of the first pullback. Okay, now you've got a little bit of a higher low here. Not very good at that. Okay, there. My mouse is set really fast. So anyway, and you've got a whole number here, which is also interesting. Whole numbers can act as support. Okay, so here, this became interesting to me because, well, let me scroll. Let me get those lines out of the way and scroll. Actually, it wasn't there that I discovered. I'm sorry. It was as it was coming down here, because you notice this other green line is catching up. Okay, so again, same reasons I just gave you. I liked it. Where are your stops, do you guys think? You've got a pullback low here, another pullback low here. Where do you think most people that are long, because of that daily chart and because of this opening candle, most stops are going to be just below this low or just below this low, right? And so now you've got this green line, which equates to the 15-minute candle, 20-period moving average. A great place for a possible turn on a strong stock. Okay, it hasn't hit that all day. Plus, you've got these recent lows that you've got a bunch of stops below, right? So this makes this a perfect place to be thinking long. You've got the 15-minute candle, 20-period moving average. I know these are 5-minute candles, but that green line represents what we call the 15-20, and a possible stop run. So when it gets down here, I started looking long, and I just went ahead and called it long over that little red candle right there, and there's the trigger. So I'll give you the numbers. It was 53.08 with a stop at 52.99. A lot of people might have thought, hey, this is rolling over. You've got a high, you've got a lower high, it's breaking a previous low. But for the reasons I just gave you, it felt more like a long. And it wasn't huge. It never did stop out, and it went up maybe 50 cents from there. But I did think it was a pretty good chart lesson to include in the video. So, and I made a little money off CBS. And then WDC, I called as a short. When it looked like this, it had what I call upside shape. into resistance on 60-minute candles. This 64 area is very interesting on WDC, and I'll show it to you in a second. But for this reason, because the 64 area was interesting, and you already had a push, a flag, and another push in a weak market, I'm looking for a reversal here. So I called it short at 64 right there with a high of day stop, 64.22, I think. And then that was the high of the day right there. That red candle where I called it short, the top of that marked the high of the day, and it did move $1 and a penny in our favor on 22 cents risk that never got stopped out. So that one worked pretty well. And real quick, I said I'd show you on 60s. Picture at the time, this was that solid green candle that I. But look here. A reason why 64 was interesting to me. Okay, you had support at 64 here, support here, resistance here, support here. So that number is definitely relevant on WDC. So that's why I was looking for a short. And again, it wasn't huge, but in this market, in this slow market, I will take that. And then the rest of my calls were WLT at I think early on at 1362. It only went to before stopping out. Actually, it went to 13. Whatever this high was, 1376, and I did make a little money off that, but it only went up about a dime from my initial call. When I take a trade in the first 5 or 10 minutes, though, and this is what I teach: scalp some, hope it never comes back to your entry, but if it does, get back out. Okay, let's see. UNXL early on, I called over 20. Now this was a gimme. I mean, you had this huge volume here on the daily. It was in breakout territory above the 200-day. And it's got a ton of shorts. So I just called this, I actually called this at 1998 with a 1979 stop. And within about 4 minutes, we're up, about 40 cents. Again, I sold some, really hoping for a short squeeze, but then I was back out right there. Because the nature of this market, guys, take some profits, hope for what we call the accidental home run, which means a stock triggers and never looks back. But if you scalp some, get to a tighter stop, you'll have much more success in this choppy, low volume market. QLIK I called early at 33.50. Just simply over this 4-minute high right there. Worst case stop. See if I can find it. 33.20. So it never stops out. As you can see, even on this sell-off, it doesn't stop out. And from 33.50, actually fairly quickly, it went to 33.94 and ended up closing basically at the high of the day and looks pretty good now for some continuation, but never did stop out. And from the entry at 33.50, it went up, I don't know, 60 cents from there. Anyway, I think that was it. SNTA I called late in the day as well on this little base break right here, but there wasn't much time left. It did close slightly above where I called it. This one is a thinner stock, but worth watching because it's trying to sneak above this base, and it's got almost 50% short interest, which you can see made a really nice move back here. So that'll probably be on watch again tomorrow. And then JC Penney's, I got about a dime out of a scalp entry here, and I was selling up here some, again hoping for the accidental home run, and when it couldn't follow through, I was out the rest for a small gain. And I think that was all of my calls for the day. So anyway, hopefully some of that helps, at least as far as charting goes, and I'll quit babbling. We'll see you guys tomorrow.